Two investigations from the case files of Lieutenant Joe Kenda. First, police find death and destruction in a quaint family home.
Bullet holes in the ceiling, bullet holes in the wall.
We can't even get inside because the doorway is blocked by the body.
This is like some sort of Quentin Tarantino movie.
Then, a 58-year-old mother of four is left for dead.
Her face was all beat up. Her throat was red.
It's an uncommon thing to see a victim who's been assaulted 3 different ways.
I cannot imagine the horror of finding out what happened to their mom.
Why did they kidnap this woman? Why are they torturing her like a cat tortures a mouse?
No.
They have a reason for doing this. It might be an insane reason, but it's a reason.
I don't want to die this way.
The human's first instinct is to lie. It begins when you're 4 years old. Did you eat that cookie? Oh no, I didn't do that. Self-preservation, particularly when you know you've done something wrong. There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
I think we're going all the way this year, man.
I don't know, man.
It's an ordinary Thursday evening, and 22-year-old Fort Carson soldier Ted Clinkscale is relaxing at his friend Randy's apartment.
He's been throwing more completions, but I'm still seeing way too many turnovers.
The last 3 games, Ward's been unstoppable.
I'll be right back.
A few minutes pass, and then Ted hears something troubling.
Tony?
He hears this commotion coming from his friend Tony's apartment downstairs.
So he jumps up, runs downstairs, knocks on the door.
CC, Tony! You guys all right now? Whoa, hey, I got no problem, man. I got no problem.
Well, that scared the heck out of him, so he ran down the street trying to find somebody to help him call 911.
At that particular time, I was working the cocktail shift from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. My partner was Joe Berry, and Berry smoked cigars. They smelled like a horse blanket that was set on fire.
Kill me with that thing.
Oh, come on, Kenda.
I always had the window down because I couldn't stand the odor in the car.
564 on Fire 6, odor investigation.
Hey, close that.
How can you get rid of that thing? Please.
We're driving around to downtown, which is our area that we were patrolling.
Go for 4 Paul 1.
And we get a radio call that there's been a shooting on East Willamette Street. And he said some of the victims have been taken to Memorial Hospital. And we both looked at each other like, some? Means there's more than one. Sounds like a pretty big deal.
20 minutes later, Kenda and Barry pull up to a modest apartment complex near the center of town.
Hey, Chapman. You heard there's more than one victim?
Yes, sir. 1 male, 1 female. They've already been rushed to the hospital.
The patrol officer identifies them as 24-year-old Tony Wake and 19-year-old Cornelia Cobra.
The way I understand it, they both live in apartment 1 where they were found.
Patrol officers say they've both been shot with a small caliber weapon. They're both a 28-year-old male named Jerry Lee Bowers, who has been shot dead and his body remains in the apartment.
Any witnesses? Just the 911 caller if you want to speak to him.
Hang on, Joe. I want to look at the crime scene first.
Yes, sir.
We can't even get inside because the doorway is blocked by the body of Jerry Bowers.
What a mess. Looks like he took fire from 2 different weapons.
He has a .38 caliber handgun loosely in his right hand. He has a gunshot wound to the upper thigh and his right leg, and he has a massive shotgun wound to the right side of his chest.
Got some shells over here.
Laying next to one blood pool is a .38 caliber revolver, and next to the other blood pool on the carpet is a shotgun.
They also noticed 2 shotgun shells laying on the floor.
What happened here?
Bullet holes in the ceiling, bullet holes in the wall by the front door and by the kitchen.
These weapons would match the wounds we observe in Jerry Bowers.
This is like some sort of Quentin Tarantino movie that happened in this very small apartment. Bullet holes that are seen all over the place, guns that were used. Crazy.
So when you look around further, there's some soda and some food on the table, some knitting needles and crochet work. It's as if these people were having a quiet evening at home and were surprised by someone coming in armed with a gun.
Why don't I head over to the hospital? See if the 2 surviving victims can give us an idea what happened.
All right, we'll touch base later.
So Barry and I decide to split our forces, and I'm going to remain there and talk to this guy who called 911. His name is Ted Clinkscales, and he's in the company of a uniformed officer at the scene.
So the couple that were shot, did you know them well?
Yeah, pretty well. Friends with both of them.
He said Cece was a homemaker. Tony worked for Ampex, which is an audiovisual company in town. So they seem to have a real stable, quiet life.
Do you know if they'll be okay?
Well, they're in critical condition right now, so I go either way at this point.
Oh my God, any word on the baby?
The baby?
Yeah, Cece is pregnant. She's due in a couple of months.
So we've got 2 people at death's door, and now maybe we have a 3rd one.
After speaking with the witness, Kenda contacts Detective Barry at the hospital for an update.
Both victims are still in surgery.
Tony was shot in the neck. They think he's going to be all right.
The female CC was shot once
Once in the arm and once in the stomach.
That's not good. Just found out she's pregnant.
Yeah, I just found out myself. It doesn't look promising.
Any news on the caliber of the gun that caused the injuries?
Yeah, 22 rounds.
22?
That's right.
Well, there's no .22 caliber gun in that apartment laying on the floor, and Bowers' gun is in his hand, and it's a .38. So who had the .22?
All right, I'm gonna head out of here.
See you back at the station.
Excuse me, are you police?
Detective Barry was approached by a lady. She had heard that her brother had been shot and had come to the hospital to find out what she could find out about this shooting.
No one inside will tell me what's going on.
Bowers.
Detective Barry knew that Jerry Bowers was deceased at the apartment.
Very sorry, ma'am. Your brother's dead.
There's really no easy way to tell somebody that news.
No.
And of course, she falls to pieces. She's shattered. She can't believe it.
Let's go. Before we go, can I ask you a few questions?
We'll just get her back to my car.
This woman becomes inconsolable, and her friend puts her in the car. So when this guy comes back, he's quite shocked that this has happened. He said, I can't believe it, that he's dead. I just can't believe that.
He says, my name is Byron Myers. And the lady that's with him is Jerry Bowers' sister, Beulah Williams.
You know anything about why Jerry was murdered?
Nah, I'm just a friend. I drove Beulah over here. That's all I know, I swear.
Barry thought that was unusual. So he says, I'm going to need to talk to her later. I need her phone number and where she lives.
Mind if I take a look at your driver's license?
And by the way, I need your name and your phone number and where you live, too.
Meanwhile, back at the crime scene, Kenda picks up a new lead.
Detective Kenda, this is Randy Baker.
And he said, this is a witness that has just decided to come forward. He also lives upstairs in this house. And I said, so what do you have to tell me, Randy?
Do you know anything about what happened in the apartment earlier tonight?
Yeah, I was there.
You were in the apartment when the shooting took place.
That's right.
Oh my, Randy. You really are the witness I've been looking for. We're investigating the death of Jerry Lee Bowers, who shot twice in this apartment on Willamette Street. And the man and woman who lived there are also shot, and the woman is 7 months pregnant. We've now developed a witness who said he was present when everyone got shot in this apartment.
He identified himself as 18-year-old Randy Baker.
Why don't you walk me through what happened?
Well, sure, I was, taking out trash. Then all of a sudden, felt something dig into my back.
Don't do anything stupid. We're going up to Tony's apartment, all right?
Randy said that he was scared to death and didn't dare look behind him to see who this person was, but that he could also hear two other people talking behind him.
Doc. They stood behind him, and these guys used Randy as a decoy, basically.
It's Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Randy says that they pushed him down to the floor. He closed his eyes tightly and put his hands over his head. He still didn't want to be a witness to whatever was going to happen.
Don't mess around.
He heard lots of arguing. Then he heard gunshots. Then he heard screaming. More gunshots.
The fear he must have been feeling. He must have been thinking, am I going to get shot? Am I next?
Then he heard people run off. And it got very quiet. He finally looked up and he sees Cece and Tony laying on the floor bleeding. Another man bleeding in the doorway, and no one else is around.
You said they were arguing. What were they arguing about?
Look, it had something to do with weed. Tony sold on the side, but he wasn't a serious dealer or nothing.
So now the thought process is, well, you know, this is a robbery. We both.
Just don't want Tony getting in trouble for this.
Look, I don't care about the drugs. Tony's already got himself in the worst kind of trouble. Thanks for the information.
So this is a drug rip that's gone very wrong indeed. We got one man dead, Jerry Lee Bowers, and two more guys that are currently in the wind that are part of this robbery crew. We need to find everybody involved and put everybody under arrest.
Kenda and Barry regroup to decide on their next move.
Who knows Jerry Bowers? Well, his sister does.
It might be helpful to check back with Jerry Bauer's sister.
Yeah, Beulah. See if she's willing to talk to us.
Let's go see Beulah Williams and see what she has to say about her brother. When we arrive, she's still distressed, but not as distressed as she was earlier.
What did Jerry do for work?
He hasn't had a real job in months.
Was he involved in armed robberies?
Yeah, maybe. I heard him and his friends talking about trying to hit up some guy's apartment. But they stopped talking once I walked in the room.
And who were the other two guys with, Barry?
Some Mexican dude I never seen before named Pete. And my friend Byron Myers.
When she said the name Byron Myers, Barry gave me that look that he knew who Byron Myers was. And as soon as we get in the car, Barry tells me about his contact with Byron Myers.
I met Myers at the hospital with Beulah. Let me know anything about what happened.
Interesting.
They gave me his driver's license after I asked for his information.
So see if we can jog his memory.
Cool.
So we bring him in.
All I did was drive P and J over there.
And he admits to being involved in this. But now Byron does the usual criminal thing.
I stayed on the hallway while they was in there.
He minimizes his involvement.
I don't know what happened. I never went inside.
This is total BS. You don't go this far in a robbery and you're gonna stay out in the hallway? No.
What about Pete? How do you know him?
According to Byron, he met Pete at a party with Jerry Bowers, and they discussed how to make a quick buck.
Bowers says he knows a drug dealer named Tony, and he says he's got a wife that's pregnant, so they're not going to fight back. We could rob them. And Pete says they sound like the perfect targets.
So we drove over there to see what's up.
Where's Tony's place?
All the way up the end. Jerry saw this guy taking out the trash.
Yo, I know that kid. Friends with Tony.
Byron says that Bowers identified Randy as a friend of Tony's.
Stay right there and don't turn around. We're going up to Tony's apartment, all right?
And they marched him to Tony's apartment door and got entry.
Oh my God!
And all of a sudden I hear bang, bang. And a bunch of screaming. So I tore out of there and waited in the car.
Byron says in a couple of minutes, Pete comes out and he says, Jerry's dead and I shot those two other people. We got to get out of here.
What's Pete's last name? Cordero?
How about where he lives? You know that?
Yeah.
And it gives us an address for Pete Cordero.
I dropped him off at his place when we left.
I said, well, I appreciate that, Byron. You've been extremely helpful. And he's smiling at me. And I said, by the way, Byron, you're under arrest.
Please stand up.
What do you mean?
For aggravated robbery and attempted murder.
Oh, come on.
Hands behind your back. Please right to remain silent.
After dropping Byron off in booking, detectives head out to find Pete Cordero.
You guys know what to do.
We take two other shooter. He's not just a guy with a gun. He's a guy who doesn't have any trouble using a gun.
Police, open up!
We knock on the door and there's no reply.
They're thinking, is he in there? Is he hiding from us?
I'll go around the other side.
Wait here. Gotta go on that side?
So they start walking around the house looking through windows and stuff.
No sign of him.
Nothing on this side.
Looked like the house had been somewhat ransacked, like somebody had come in here real quick, grabbed a bunch of stuff, and took off.
You should put out a photo for Peter Cordero.
Sorry. He knows we're after him.
I just wonder what kind of head start they got.
We need to get our hands on Pete Cordero. He is running. We just don't know in what direction. We are in pursuit of the third and final suspect.
Police, open up!
In a multiple shooting event where two people were shot, including a pregnant female, and one person is dead.
Detectives have learned that their suspect, Pete Cordero, is on the run and may be headed out of state.
So they run a records check on him and find out that Pete is actually on parole out of the state of California.
So we contact the California authorities because when fugitives become fugitives, they're predictable. They run home.
In the meantime, Kenda and Barry hope the two surviving victims, Tony Wake and Cornelia Cobre, will be able to make a statement.
I need you to take it easy with them. Their injuries are substantial, and they have months of recovery ahead of them.
Of course. And what about Cece's baby? Is she gonna be okay?
Amazingly. Yes.
The doctor says, well, it's a miracle, but that slug went through her abdomen and never touched that baby. Baby's just fine. And she's going to have a normal birth.
Thanks, Doc. I'll take Tony and take Cece. Feeling any better?
Not really. But I'll get there.
When you walk into a room like that, the purpose is to present yourself as a friend, as a person that doesn't know anything about this event, just to see what he'll say.
Can you tell me a little bit about what happened?
Well, Cece and I, we were just relaxing. And I heard a knock at the door. And I looked through the peephole. It's Randy. let him in.
Hey, Randy.
Oh my God! Oh my
What the
God!
hell are y'all doing?
But there are these guys behind him.
He says a guy forces Randy into the apartment, and he's immediately followed by two more guys who both have guns.
And what do they want?
Everyone's cool? No one get hurt.
Where's the money? Where's the stash?
I don't keep no cash here. I know you have it somewhere.
They wanted cash.
Where's the dope?
And my supply.
Your supply.
Weed.
Tony tells Detective Kent that I've been selling marijuana on the side. With the baby coming, I wanted to get some more cash saved up.
That's remarkably honest. To tell me the truth, that he's selling drugs.
I sold to Jerry Bowers.
Yo, I know that kid. He friends with Tony.
So I guess he led him there.
Tony becomes a star witness at this point because he's already implicated himself in a criminal act.
So you knew Jerry. What about the other two guys?
Byron.
Everyone's cool, no one get hurt.
I seen him around town, but I don't know.
We identified him as Peter Cordero. So what happened once they were all inside?
Look, man, I told you I don't keep
Tony, don't mess around. Just tell him where it's at.
Cece realizes it's not worth getting killed over.
Why don't you tell me where it is?
So she tells Pete that they keep it under the sink in the kitchen.
Pete can't seem to find anything under the sink, although it's there. He doesn't find it.
Can't find it under there. Where is it?
So he comes out, he looks at her and says, "Hey,
I'm gonna kill your husband for lying to me."
fires 3 shots at Tony on the ground. Tony says that Byron ran out when those shots were fired, and then someone knocked on the door, and Pete answered it and stuck a gun out, which matches exactly with what the 911 witness had told us.
That knock on the door is probably what saved people's lives.
While the gunman's attention is focused on the door, Cece makes a move.
Gives Cece the opportunity to reach under the couch and pull out their gun.
Get out of my house, you prick!
Cece was able to actually hit Jerry in the thigh with one of the shots, and Jerry went to the floor.
Tony said he knew that was his last chance to save his family, and he crawled into the bedroom to get his shotgun.
Get out or I'll shoot you too!
When he came out, he saw Jerry Bowers and Pete pointing their guns.
No, wait!
And he fired that shotgun.
At that point, Jerry went down and did not get back up. He fired another round at Pete, going out the door, but doesn't think he hit him.
Says that the Mexican guy named Pete was drunk or was high, and he was agitated and yelling and screaming and waving his gun around. And
I guess they must have shot it when I went for my shotgun.
Tony said he heard sirens in the distance, and the next thing he remembered, he woke up in a hospital.
But you gotta understand, I don't want to shoot nobody. I don't want to kill anybody. But they had guns on Cece and my baby.
I understand.
There's no question in my mind that Tony and Cece were acting in their own defense. Irrespective of the narcotic sales, these are home invaders who are armed. They fire the first shots, and Tony and his wife respond in kind. Absolute clear self-defense. So now we know what happened here. We have Jerry Lee Bowers down and dead at the scene. We have Byron Myers under arrest. The only loose end here is Pete Cordero.
But it's not long before Cordero shows up in California.
Freeze, don't move!
Pete was located in Lodi, California.
McCain's there. Go down to your knees.
Pete was arrested and eventually extradited back to Colorado Springs.
Pete is found guilty by a jury, and sentenced to 15 years for first-degree burglary and first-degree assault.
Byron Myers pleads guilty for his participation in the robbery and is sentenced to 11 months.
You want me to push him?
No, I'm fine.
You good?
Tony and Cece did not face any charges for the shooting of Jerry Bowers. Both were acting in self-defense, and because of their cooperation in this case, it was decided that no criminal charge would be brought against them for the marijuana charge.
Tony learned and understood the mistake they made, and they made the right choice following that. Jerry Lee Bowers never had the chance. He made his choice and died as a result.
Coming up, Kenda must track down a monster who brutally attacked an older woman.
She's been stabbed multiply in the chest, beaten in the face. Someone tried to strangle her. When that failed, they used a knife on her chest.
Is headed south on I-25. There's nothing out there for about 45 miles. So he turns up his music, settles in for the long haul.
All of a sudden, he sees a woman standing on the shoulder of the highway. And she was somewhat bloodied and appeared to be in distress.
Ma'am? Let's get in my truck.
Let's get to the hospital. I'm up in here. Hold on.
A few hours later, Kenda and Detective Skip Arms are summoned to the Parkview Hospital to investigate an attempted homicide.
So what can you tell us?
The victim is a 58-year-old woman named Sigrid Griswold.
My mom was very altruistic. Definitely. She cared for other people. People loved her.
The sheriff's deputies say that a driver who picked her up found her at the Eden exit off of I-25.
Apparently her injuries are serious, and it's unclear if she's going to survive.
Thank you. Excuse me, doctor?
Yes.
Can you tell us about Miss Griswold?
We're able to talk to the doctor, and we were informed that Sigrid had bruising around her face and some puncture wounds in her chest.
She's pretty damn lucky to be alive.
The treating physician said another quarter of an inch either way would have caused the blade to penetrate her heart and kill her. He said she also had bruises on the neck, indicating that someone attempted to manually strangle her.
So the question many people had, why Sigrid? She just didn't seem like the kind of person that had an enemy in the world.
Her family's here if you'd like to speak with them.
And where are they now?
They're in the waiting room. I can take you there.
It's an uncommon thing to see a victim who's been injured 3 different ways. She's been assaulted, strangled, and stabbed. That is very unusual.
Excuse me. I'm Lieutenant Candace, Detective Arms. It was a very difficult time, but we'd like to ask you a few questions.
Of course.
I see.
Couldn't believe it when I walked in the room. Her face was all beat up. Her throat was red. She had scratches on her body.
We're very sorry about what happened to your mother.
Yeah, it's awful. I think she'll make it, though. She's a fighter.
She was born in Czechoslovakia. It's right near the border with Germany. She had a great life until World War II. They were taken out of their home and put in a labor camp.
She describes her mother as a tough, strong woman.
I don't know why someone would do this to her.
Do you have any idea what she had planned today?
According to Michelle, her sister Robin was supposed to meet their mother at Acacia Park.
They were having a concert downtown where I work. So I had called her and asked her if she wanted to meet me down there.
She never showed.
When I first heard about it, I couldn't believe it. And I felt very upset, very responsible, since she was coming to meet me.
Do you know the make of your mom's car or the license plate number?
Yeah, sure. It's 87 Blue Lincoln Town Car.
When Sigrid was on I-25, she was on foot. She didn't have a car, as whoever attacked her took it. The car is the key factor. Where is the car?
Yeah, I'll take care of it. And I'll head out where the truck driver spotted her and just take a look around.
While Arms heads out to I-25, Kenda and Michelle search through Sigrid's personal belongings for clues.
My God, the blood.
There is bloody clothing, one shoe, and a purse.
Is anything missing?
Where's her gold necklace?
Gold necklace.
I don't know why it was important to her. She loved that necklace. She wore it a lot. It looked really good on her.
She never takes it off.
Well, she's not wearing it now, so that's been removed. Has it been stolen, or was it broken during the assault? It's hard to say.
Meanwhile, Detective Arms arrives at the location where trucker Carl Walker found Sigrid.
At this stage, we don't have the victim's car, so that might be in the area somewhere. So what are we looking for?
All right, so we're looking for the spot where the body was, where she was stabbed. Should be a depression in the grass. Right there.
I was able to find an area that had the plants all kind of tamped down.
Hey, Clemens.
Hey.
Check this out.
And I found what looked like maybe a couple of drops of blood. I'm thinking this is probably our crime scene. I was looking for a knife, but didn't find one.
Another key piece of evidence is also missing.
We still don't have Sigrid's car. At this point in time, we're sort of dependent on the aid of other law enforcement agencies because that's going to be a big key.
You might want to think about going home and getting some rest.
We're talking to Michelle, the daughter, who's been singing the praises of the level of toughness of her mother when one of the nurses comes up and proves the point.
I have some amazing news. Sigrid is out of surgery. She's still a little groggy, but she keeps saying that she wants to talk to the police right away so they can catch the guys that did this.
My thought was, you're certainly right about your mother. She is one tough woman. We have been told that Sigrid Griswold was the victim of an assault and a stabbing, and her car is missing.
Miss Griswold?
Well, we've been informed that she's determined to tell us exactly what happened.
Lieutenant Kenda, I'd like to ask you a few questions if you're feeling up to it.
Miss Griswold is in poor shape when we see her. She has blood trauma injuries to the face and to the neck, but she has a fire in her eye.
Yes, I want you to catch those bastards. I had pulled over near where the concert was taking place.
Your keys, give them to me now!
No! This man came up to my car, shoved me over to the passenger side. Some other guy jumped in the back seat.
Once the second man jumps into the back seat of the car, she realizes she's in trouble.
Let go of me! Get out of my car!
And that she's getting kidnapped.
Did they try to rob you?
They looked in my purse. But I think they were just after my car.
You've seen too much, lady. I'm sorry.
And that's when it happened.
She says the guy behind her tries to strangle her with his hands. And then he says, my right hand doesn't work right. And he releases his grip on her.
Before I had a chance to catch my breath, he started strangling me again.
He says to her from behind, you're a tough old lady, why won't you die? She distinctly remembers him saying that.
They pulled over somewhere. And dragged me out of the car.
Let me go!
Shut your f***ing mouth.
Sigrid says they stabbed her a number of times, they beat her, and ultimately they left in her car.
Can you describe these men?
I never really got a good look at the guy behind me. But the driver, though, he was probably in his 30s. He had dark hair and a mustache.
Did they happen to say where they were going?
They talked about going to Los Angeles and driving through Albuquerque.
Now, the reason that makes sense is I-25 and I-40 is the only route. that you can take out of central New Mexico to go to California. There's no doubt that's their route.
Detectives update their APB, including a description of the driver. And hours later, they get a hit.
Anthony, you see that car in the back of the parking lot, that blue vehicle? That vehicle fits the description of the stolen vehicle they told us about on that APB.
Yeah, but the driver doesn't have a mustache.
You don't get tied up in what they look like, but the guy in the back seat does. They're in her car. Let's go. Close enough.
Get out with your hands up!
They ordered him out of the car at gunpoint.
Hey, I don't know anything about this. I was hitchhiking.
That's the usual story. You don't listen to them.
Put your hands on the hood of the car.
If I was the arresting officer, I'd say, well, you hitchhiked with the wrong guy now, didn't you? You're under arrest.
The two occupants of the car were Wallace Glenn Eckersley and Daniel Immel. They were both placed into custody and elected not to talk anymore without the presence of an attorney.
A few weeks into her recovery, Sigrid is brought to the police station.
I remember when they come out. You can see them, but they can't see you. Send them in. I want you to take a look at all of them and see if you recognize anyone.
It is very critical that our victim assist the police in identifying who these individuals were, that they were not hitchhikers. They were the only individuals along the way that were involved in this.
That's him. The third man there.
She was immediately able to identify Wallace Glenn Eckersley as the driver of the car.
Are you positive it's him?
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget that face. Not after what he did to me.
Take number 3 out.
Now we want to identify Mr. Immel, who's the back seat occupant.
What about the other guy? Is he there?
I never really saw him because he was behind me.
She says, I closed my eyes. I didn't want to see them killing me because I thought I was going to die.
Did you recognize his voice?
Oh, yeah.
So we decided to do an audio lineup. We got 6 people that have a similar tone to their voice, one of whom is Mr. Immel.
I'm going to put the blindfold on you so you're not influenced by anything, okay?
Doing an audio lineup is very unusual. It's the only one I ever did in my career.
Number 1, step forward and say the line.
You're a tough old lady. Why won't you die?
We asked each of the individuals to make the same exact phrases.
You're a tough old lady. Why won't you die?
Step forward and say the line.
You're a tough old lady. Why won't you die?
You're a tough old lady. Why won't you die?
That's the guy that was in the back seat.
Are you sure? I'm absolutely certain.
That's him.
And it was Daniel Immel.
Room number 4.
During the process, Immel's attorney suggested he cooperate with the police. And so Immel did that. He provided a statement as to why and what they did to Mrs. Griswold.
Kenda now has a clear picture. Began with a few drinks at a local watering hole.
Daniel Immel is a drunk by his own admission, and so is Glenn Eckersley. They become friends.
Man, it's going to take a long time to hitchhike all the way from Colorado to LA.
And they decide they're going to hitchhike to California because that's where Eckersley is from.
Maybe it's a faster way. How about we steal a car?
The typical criminal plan occurs in less than 5 minutes through a haze of alcohol and drugs. And this is no exception.
I like it, yeah. Hey, buddy, can we get 2 more over here? What about her? She don't look like she'll put up much of a fight. Let's do it. Your keys, give them to me now!
What are you doing? Let go of me!
As they drive out of town, the men begin tormenting Sigrid.
You have to remember these guys are intoxicated. They're criminals. It's like it's some game they're playing, except it's not a game.
You're not too bad for an older broad.
I don't want to die this way.
Shut your mouth, I'll break your neck.
No.
Or maybe you should. She's gonna be able to identify us if we just let her go.
Now it became much more serious. Now they're talking, they were going to have to kill her.
No, I won't. I promise.
You've seen too much. I'm sorry.
No, stop, please.
Dan is wanting to strangle her and can't get it done because of the weakness in his right hand. He had been involved in a drunk driving accident a handful of years ago that caused this permanent damage. So he was unable to choke her to the point of causing death.
You're a tough lady. Why don't you die?
Don't you have a gun? Just get it over with.
She's hoping that if they're actually going to kill her, she wants it to be fast.
I don't have a gun, but I do have this. Let me pull over, man. You don't have that blood in the car, man.
So they get her out of the car.
Please, no.
And she says, I refuse to die like this.
Please, no, let me go.
They push her down on the ground, and Emma stabs her in her breastplate.
She feels enormous pain when she's stabbed, but she thinks it's in her interest to play dead, so she does.
Come on. She's dead. Get out of here.
She lays there for a few minutes till she's convinced that they're gone. She walks out to the highway, and finally a trucker stops.
Wallace Glenn Eckersley is convicted of second-degree kidnapping and attempted second-degree murder. He is sentenced to 40 years. Daniel Immel pleads guilty to second-degree kidnapping and is sentenced to 36 years.
I was satisfied with the outcome of the trial. My mom was satisfied. She actually forgave the two guys. This is the necklace that my mom lost. We found the necklace, and that was just a gift. It was a gift. She was an incredible mother. She took time for the kids, always.
This particular case is a case of someone demanding to survive when the odds are overwhelmingly against her. She was just not going to put up with being a victim of a violent crime. Mrs. Griswold is tough.